Hey guys, today's story is the first part of a multi-part story of a group of problem players. This story is my first RPG horror story, and I have tons from this group. This was the first group that I played with, and as a result, I was hesitant to leaving. I didn't see all the signs of them being a toxic group, well until it led me to being kicked out of the group. It's a long story, so I'll put it into a few parts if you guys want to hear more. I started playing D&D about a year ago. I had always wanted to learn more about the game, but nothing ever lined up. However, one night I decided to go and purchase the starter set and start playing. I went to my local gaming store and joined their Adventures League, but found it wasn't to my taste. A good group of guys, all about 5 years older than me, invited me to join their homebrew campaign. We played that for a few weekends, then we tried the Ghost of Saltmarsh campaign. Well, a little drama went down with a few of the players, and it left a sour taste in my mouth. One of the guys, we'll call him David, invited me to DM for his group. David is about 22 years older than me, and has a giant service dog. First time meeting him, he scared me witless. Then, as time went on, he and I got relatively close. I decided to DM for his group, and we played the Dragon of Ice Spire Peak. All of them were great players, and we had great fun. They were all a little younger than me, however. I was 17, and they were mainly around 14 to 16. They enjoyed having me play, and decided to invite me to the main campaign they are playing in. It was a Critical Role themed campaign, and being a fan of the show, I was pretty excited. I decided to roll up a halfling gunslinger who used to be a criminal but is trying to be a better person. Session 1 happened, and things went really smooth. The group had some chaotic but lovable personalities. How soon would I realize that these lovable facades would come crashing down? Let me introduce the players, however. We had Demi, who was a goblin wizard who was essentially a murder hobo, Kane, who was a dragonborn paladin, but he then played a dwarven cleric to the Allhammer, Meryl, a gnome artificer who hogged the spotlight, Belle, Meryl's best friend and a water genasi druid and super opinionated, and then Kate, a half-elf cleric to the Raven Queen who played games on her iPad all session. The first session started off like any other session 0 you would expect. The party met in a tavern, found a job board, and decided to go and do some jobs. We dealt with some weird ugly fish people trying to destroy ships, and the party had a lot of fun. We meshed really well and managed to get things done. The next session was where things took a turn for the worse. Our party was tasked with 2 missions: clear an old tavern of creatures, and kill the goblins that are in a mineshaft. Luckily, they were both on the way. We first went to get rid of the tavern creatures, which turned out to be some demons which were way above our CR level. We looted the area, and I found some cool magic weapons, and gave them to the main martial fighters of the group. We then went to the goblin-infested mineshaft. Through some amazing rolls, our goblin wizard murder hobo Demi convinced the goblins to relocate in the tavern we had just cleared out, while Demi, Belle, and Meryl took the goblins to the tavern. I stayed back with Kane and Kate to loot and discover any secrets. We then encountered a locked door with some dwarvish writing on the walls. It read, "Don't open. They will get you." But none of us spoke dwarvish, so we ignored it. We opened the door, and then explored a bit. We were attacked by a group of carrion crawlers, and had to escape quickly. Kane decided to cast Detect Good and Evil, and the carrion crawler got him. Instead of fleeing, it was now a rescue mission. We fought off a few of the crawlers while he was making death saves, and managed to finally get his body out. However, he was dead. When the group met back up, we had to break the news to them. When our group got back to town, I played my character as very emotional and sad. He never had a buddy die before, so he took it hard. He drank a lot, but was also motivated to make sure it never happened again. He created countless sketches of new inventions, a Stimpack-like device where it would inject a healing potion into you on your reaction, gloves that would help you climb quicker, and even a bullet that would net a creature on impact. Everyone else acted like it was normal, and partied, and did day-to-day adventurer things. Then, next session, we were introduced to Kane's new character, a Dwarven Forge Cleric. He met my character in a tavern and poisoned me, knocking me unconscious, but stabilized. I had no clue he did this until he admitted it later, out of character, bragging about it. Before I could wake up, the party was dragged into a new adventure. They had to save the life of a young woman struggling with depression. A small module raising awareness for depression and mental health issues. The party, and King's new character, debated waking me up for it, then decided to bring me along for the ride. We were swept into a very dark, heavy-themed module with tons of suicide and depression imagery. That hit home to a lot of us teenagers, and made the events even more real for us. We get to a room where we all see and feel our biggest nightmares, the clerics having their gods revoke them, lovers dying, etc. We were told that we had to get by using healthy coping methods. So a lot of us do that. We take deep breaths, focus on what we love, and try to push out the negative feelings. Well, most of us try to do that. Kane started taking some divine magic and self-harming himself. Yes, self-harming. We all looked at him like a, dude, what the heck, moment. But he then shot back a response saying,
What, is that bad?
We decided to let it go, knowing that we had more pressing issues at the moment. In the weird plane we were on, we found a magical sword. I asked if anyone could identify it, and Kane said,
I can't.
And casted Identify on the sword. The DM texted him what the enchantment was, and he says,
Okay.
And proceeds to not tell the rest of the group. In character, I ask, What is it? And he responds,
Nothing you need to worry about.
And continued on like everything was normal. The party didn't say anything about it, so I was kind of confused. Can he do that? It's obviously not right, but I mean, why is nobody saying anything? Oh well, I don't want to stir the pot right now, so I'm going to leave it be. The session ended fairly well, and I just decided to let it go. He'll probably tell us eventually, I thought. It turns out, he never did. Next session came around, and I decided to have a positive outlook. Just ignore his behavior, and things will be okay. We were into our final job board job. A white was threatening the town, and we had to kill her, and her undead minions. Awesome! A dungeon crawl. I love those. We then set out to find the dungeon, which was in a murky swampland, and was about a 3-day travel away. On our first day of travel, a new character was introduced. His name was Kyle, and he was playing a dragonborn sorcerer fighter. We didn't encounter him on the road, however. Instead, a magical portal opened up and he just appeared. Everyone else just quickly welcomed him into the group, with no roleplay whatsoever. So I was the first one to strike up a conversation with him, and the conversation went on like this. Hey, I'm Tordeb.
Hi, I'm...
Out of character.
Crap, let me look up a random name generator. Kyle.
Nice to meet you, Kyle. Hey, pardon if I'm being a little forward, but why did you come out of a random portal?
Oh, I'm not from around this area.
It didn't take an insight check to figure out he was lying on this one. Oh, okay. Why are you here then? Kyle, out of character.
Look, man, I don't have a backstory yet. I just made my character a few days ago.
Myself, out of character. Oh crap, man. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. And that ended the roleplay. I later found out that I had taken his spot in the campaign. He had been grounded by his parents for getting bad grades, and David picked me until Kyle could join again. The second day, however, was much more eventful. We had traveled along the murky swampland, keeping an eye out for any dangers. The DM rolled on a random encounter table, and we ended up fighting a group of bullets in a weird ritualistic-like site. After the encounter, I decided to investigate the site for anything, and I rolled a natural 20 on my investigation check. I discovered that there was a false rock, and moving it away, I found a beautiful skull pendant. Okay, I'm going to give Kane another chance. Not because I want to, but because I don't want this to be a freaky voodoo item. I told him about the item and asked him if he could identify it, because I want to make sure it isn't cursed. He sat down, ritually cast Identify, and then Davis told us aloud what the item was. It was a vestige of divergence, a powerful magical artifact that was granted by the gods thousands of years ago. This vestige was created by the Raven Queen, the goddess of death. This item tears up as you accomplish great feats, and it is considered to be a legendary item. Out of character, all of us were wowed and amazed. Most of us have watched Critical Role and know how powerful the vestiges can be, and to find one at level 3 was shocking. In character, this is what Kyle told us.
This is a vestige of divergence, an item created by the gods. This means that it is ultra-powerful and not meant for the hands of us mortals, so I'm going to be holding on to it.
And that was that. I heard that and got instantly angry. This was the second time he's kept a magical item from me, and I had found this one myself, so I was super excited about it. I also knew that we had a cleric of the Raven Queen in the party, so the fact that he was even keeping it from her made me upset. I asked Kane, "Hey, can I have the item back? I found it, and it isn't fair that you're holding on to the item. We rely on you to identify them because you have the magic." His response?
No, you do more bad than good with it.
I then decided that I would attempt to steal it off him. It makes sense for my character. He is a reforming criminal who basically had a powerful item stolen from him. I privately texted the DM, asking if I could sleight of hand the item while he was sleeping. The DM said, sure, and I ended up rolling a 24, way more than his passive perception. Then that night, I had to decide what I wanted to do with it. Give it to Kate, whose patron is the Raven Queen, or hold on to it myself. I decided to give it to her, as it would give her a better connection with her god. However, the session ended before I could give her the item. The next session resumed with us finally at the beginning of the dungeon. We were quickly ushered in, and were fighting some undead, 2 ghouls and 1 wraith-like creature in an abandoned chapel room. My character was possessed, and the rest of the party was quickly able to ascertain that. They realized that if they attacked the wraith inside of me, it would deal damage to me instead of the creature. They all debated how to work around it. Well, mostly everyone. Kane decided to attack me, and I, out of character, said to him, "You know I'm taking damage, right? Not the wraith." He looks at me smugly and responds,
Yeah, I know.
and I just looked at the DM with a "I'm so done" look and tried to casually play it off. In the chapel, we ended up taking a short rest. We investigated the room, and I discovered a secret notch that had a riddle in the wall. I didn't tell the rest of the party because I first wanted to hear what the riddle had said. I can't exactly remember what the riddle said, but I remember before I could answer it, Meryl shouted out the answer. The stone shifted, and she was given a magical crystal shard. I wanted to say that she couldn't have heard this because I never said anything, but I just ignored it and let it slide. The adventure continued on, and we fought some blink spiders, and then eventually made our way to the main chamber. We fought a skeleton minotaur, as well as the White Queen, and managed to kill them all after a tough battle. We took a short rest, and during that time we investigated the room. I rolled well on my check, and noticed on the dais was a small little indent that could be slid to the left. I slid it and found a coin purse, as well as a beautifully magical amulet. This time, thinking better of myself, I decided not to ask Kane if he could identify it, so I held onto it and put it into my bag. When I rejoined the group, both Kane and Belle went,
Insight check, insight check.
When I told them I didn't find anything. They both rolled terribly low, and my deception check succeeded. They then gave me the cold shoulder, both in-game and out of character. We left the dungeon, and went on our way back to town. I pulled Kate aside and said, "Hey, I know how important your connection to the Raven Queen is, and I know you've been feeling pretty disconnected lately. My methods of getting it back might not have been too holy, but here." And I hand her the pendant. As soon as I announce that I do, Kane loses his cool and goes,
"No you don't, I have it right here."
And the DM interjects, saying that he no longer has it. This is where the tension began between the two of us, and where everything got worse. This is where I'm going to end the first part of the story. Well guys, beyond the obvious jerk being a jerk, I haven't much else to say beyond I'm looking forward to seeing how the next part fleshes things out. But in any case guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.